Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Another video update on our favorite Pop Max scammers, none other than the leaders of the Nivex exchange. So in the past couple videos, I've alluded to Simon Hardy being somewhat involved in this scam project. And after doing a little bit more research, I now believe that Simon and either his girlfriend or wife or whoever, this woman is, you've probably seen her, we'll get to that in a minute, but I believe these two are the main architects behind the Pop Max scam, which would also include Pop Chain, Pop Social, Pop Token, and now, of course, Luma protocol. So, hindsight's always 2020. I sure as heck wished I had done some, due diligence and looked up more about this project before I invested multiple tens of thousands of dollars into this. Like I said in my last video, shame on me, right? I have no one else to blame but myself. Does that mean that I'm not angry and these people should do the right thing and return investor money? Of course not. Of course I'm upset. But at the end of the day, I should have done more research. I jumped into this based off, another popular YouTube influencer that, was just so excited about this project. And, I got the wide eyes and was excited about all this potential revenue and income. And I went all in. So shame on me. But had I done a little bit of research, I probably would have come across this page. Which is really interesting. So, if you look at this is behind MLM, multi-level marketing, which most are scams. And this person did a little bit of more research into this. This is October 3rd, so a few days ago. And they say the Pop Max Ponzi scheme has collapsed. So, of course, we all know that. Victims of the Pop Max scheme are now being funneled into the Luma protocol reboot. Pop Max surfaced earlier this year as a Dubey-based staking model. It was not a staking model, it was just a cash grab. Of course, we all put in money in USDT, so real US dollars, or equivalent of dollars. And we were promised returns to be paid back in their staking model, in their junk, worthless PUSD token, which they allowed us to convert into PPT in order to cash out on a couple of exchanges. Well, you'll remember not too long ago, the main exchange they were on, Bygit or Bigit, whatever it was, which US folks couldn't even use, it got delisted. Now, the Pop Max people claim that they requested to get delisted in order to put more emphasis on their own chain, which is only available on the Nivex exchange. Imagine that. But anyways, so a few weeks ago, Pop Max disabled the conversion of the worthless PUSD to PPT, which is now also basically worthless, effectively disabling ROI withdrawals. Almost immediately, Luma protocol was announced. What a coincidence. So that domain, which is the dap.lumaprotocol.io, was privately registered on August 29th, 2025. So just mere days before they shut off the ability to cash out your worthless PUSD in the so-called staking protocol for Pop Max. So the Luma protocol is an investment scheme tied to mining of Pop tokens, which, if you recall in our last video, you can only get Pop tokens if you put in either USDT, real money again, only available to do through the Nivex exchange, or if you take your tens and thousands of dollars of worthless PUSD and buy hash mining power over on, you guessed it, the Nivex exchange. These Pop tokens are withdrawn through Nivex, a dodgy crypto exchange run by scammers hiding in Dubai. And who are those two scammers? Well, one is Simon Hardy, this guy right here with the smug look and needs to shave. And Becky Choi, aka Becky Kai, I guess. And if you watch any of the latest Luma protocol videos that all these other scammers are promoting, Magnus, Cell, Con Man, Kevin Cooper, quote Kevin Cooper, the moderator, the faceless moderator of the PopMax Global Telegram group. You've seen her in a windowless room presenting this amazing opportunity for all of us. And she herself has said, you know what, I personally put in $300,000-$400,000 into this Luma protocol. That's how much I believe in it. Well, she's part of the scam machine. She's a half of this ownership of the scam machine, along with her boyfriend Simon Hardy, which, Simon Hardy is his English ties name. It's however the heck you spell that. So he went with Simon Hardy because it's easy to spell. So Luma Protocol was presented as a joint development between Nivex Exchange and PopMax. Well, it goes on further to say there's a good chance Hardy and Kai are behind the entire scheme. I am totally in agreement with this. They're not working alone. They have other scammers, such as Nick, I guess this is his real name, who was at the Nivex office in Dubai when Sal Khan Man flew in. This is a couple months ago to interview, quote, the co-founder of PopMax. And, just goes on to talk more about, now that all the new suckers have dried up in PopMax. And that's the thing, right? They had all these international quarterly events. They had all these promotional events where you could, gain additional bonus for 30 days. You stake $10,000, you get promoted to P3 for 30 days. This was all a cash grab. There was no investment. There was no, amazing behind-the-scenes traders that they claimed to have that were trading your money and doing crypto arbitrage to gain the yield needed to pay this protocol out. It was all a scam and all a cash grab. So once, as with any Ponzi scheme, as soon as new investor money starts drying up, you don't have money to pay out the older investors. So what do? Well, they had no more money to come in, meaning that, let's say all the original people that were still cashing out their 1% a day, they were running out of PPT tokens to give them in order to facilitate this Ponzi scheme of cashing out old investors with new investor money. So what do? They spun up this Luma protocol, and much part of that is trapping as much money in the system. Hence the endless token launches. Token conversion serves as a manipulable hoop for investors to jump through when they try to withdraw. Today is October 8th, Wednesday, in North America. And you probably saw earlier they put a pause in the Nivex account or the Nivex exchange to your ability to deposit PUSD. Now, it seems to be only been temporary. They claim it was not a Nivex issue or a PopMax issue, but rather a BSC exchange issue because they were just so overwhelmed on their network, which, whether you believe that or not. So I haven't heard any updates recently if people still have issues trying to move their PUSD into Nivex in order to be able to buy pop hash mining, since that's really the only value it has, which is only a fraction of the original value. Yesterday I mentioned my buddy who put in, $70,000-$80,000 of PUSD. Yesterday he was able to get 45 pop tokens. Today that dropped down to 41. So it's going to continue going down to zero. Why? Because they've only released half of the allotment of these original 360-day stakes. The other half is still coming. So I think there's close to $550 million, if you believe that as well, $550 million of PUSD that has been brought over to Nivex in order to buy hash mining. But we still have half of that left to go. I mean, this could well be over $1 billion, meaning you would have to have multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars even to generate, let's say 10 to 15 pop tokens a day, which is worth $1.50. So we're never getting that investment back. It's trickling back to us. In the meantime, they're trying to get us involved in this next scam. And you'll recall yesterday we looked at some of the people behind all this, and the CEO and the CMOs, and none of these people have any credentials. They barely have the experience and the resume to be a janitor at a McDonald's, let alone a international organization, fit to be CEO or CMO, right? But let's take a look at our friend Simon Hardy. So Simon Hardy, this guy, wow, he's the CEO of a AI crypto international exchange. I mean, this guy must be amazing, right? Like, he must have, to be picked as CEO of this organization, he must have led multiple crypto companies over the last 10, 15 years to incredible heights. Just amazing. Obviously he's the right choice, right? I mean, take a look at his background and his experience. Okay, so here we are as LinkedIn. I love this experience, entrepreneurship, Bitcoin. Okay, buddy. He's a CEO of Nivex, right? He co-founded. He's building the next generation AI-powered centralized crypto exchange. Although he spelled it cryptio, I'm not sure if that was on purpose or if he's just an idiot. Prior to that, let's see what he did. Oh wait. Literally the only thing he ever did was 5 years as a marketing specialist for Web3 projects. Wait, where's all this? He must have like an Ivy League degree and worked in Wall Street, or worked for some kind of other big exchange. Maybe worked for CZ over at bank. No, he was just a marketing specialist. And then he got picked to be a CEO of Nivex that he co-founded. Okay. Well, so this guy, if you check him out on his YouTube channel, he only has like 5 videos. 5 or okay, so he's got like 7. He started this 5 months ago. Look at these really cheesy, stereotypical YouTube cover thumbnail photos, right? This guy wants to be and aspires to be a crypto influencer. Look at him; he's got his Rolex watch. Building the next generation crypto exchange. This guy. He's a wannabe CEO. But I can't imagine that launching a crypto exchange is cheap. Obviously you need some resources. You need to have technical know-how and tech people and a CTO and servers, and there's a certain amount of intelligence that you need and are required for both manpower, woman power, what have you, beyond just a smug-looking guy who wants to be an influencer in the space. So one of these videos, the exchange I'm building from scratch, it's actually really funny because he talks about like how other exchanges or other platforms or other protocols may not be legit. Let's just take a quick listen here.
They are built for traders or insiders, or in some cases exit scams. There has been so many different examples of the projects and exchanges that collapse. In the last bull market with the FTX, with Sam Bankman-Fried as a face of the exchange, and the story how he created a piggy bank out of his own exchange and extracted money out of the users' pockets.
Okay, so a lot to unpack right there in a very short video clip of our friend Simon Hardy. So he just said that he's sick of these wannabe exchanges, wannabe protocols. All they do is rug you and scam you. They use your funds as their personal piggy bank, which is exactly what he's done with us at PopMax, and apparently what he's done over his career, doing a lot of things. So I just happened to come across this Facebook page talking about Simon and Becky and their scammers or Ponzi scammers. The SEC is looking for this couple. The FBI is looking for this couple. I don't know if that's true, but some along the way, these two scammed whoever created this page, and to the point where this person felt the need to create a Facebook page to let everyone know, which is great. I'm all for it. So this says this crypto Ponzi couple have scammed over $200 million from Americans, Europeans, and most Chinese. The SEC has charged 11 people for their link with a $300 million crypto Ponzi scheme. And Simon still to this day, he promotes and sponsors these big crypto events. He was one of the leading sponsors at Token 2049 this year in Singapore. Through a big yacht party, here he and Becky are in looks like Egypt, perhaps. He has a Canadian Goose, $4,000 jacket. And living the good life, He living the good life. I mean, this guy went from a no-name, marketing specialist on LinkedIn to CEO of Nivex. So this guy has figured out how to scam people, right? So his girlfriend Becky, or his wife, maybe they're married, I don't know. He's they're just scamming people left and right. Nivex is the latest, and here he is at I believe this was at the Jeju, South Korea, PopMax Global Expo. I thought it was kind of weird that they would talk so much about Nivex other than, they're launching the next chain on that. But as it turns out, he was just pitching his own exchange because he's the mastermind behind this entire scam. And so, when I found this video of his stupid YouTube channel talking about, watch out for these scammers, and he's not like that. It just, I had to laugh because that's exactly what he's doing. Mr. Simon V. Hardy, the crypto CEO. So there's probably more to unpack and figure out, but it's clear that these two, Simon and Becky, are kind of the masterminds behind this whole scam. They needed the ability to raise millions of dollars to get Nivex exchange going. They propped up Luma protocol as a way to, distract and bring in more investment dollars, and also to appease the PopMax people that are rightfully very upset. So we're getting pennies on a dollar's return, and so that's their way of kind of keeping the PopMax people at arm's length and at least giving them a couple bucks here and there through their junk pop token. But more and more information is being discovered about these two, and not just these two, but as we just discussed in the last video, the two sisters from India who are propped up as leaders and CEOs and CMOs of this scam organization. Of course, you got Magnus, who we'll cover him in another video because that guy's a piece of work that deserves his own video. But these people are scammers, and we're here to continue to expose these people and bring light to the fact that they have scammed people out of millions of dollars. So, thought that was interesting, and thought I'd share that. I kind of came across some of this in the last 24 hours. A friend who also was scammed out of tens of thousands of dollars, and PopMax sent me some of these links as he was starting to discover what's going on out there. So, people that are honest, people who, it's one thing to launch a project and legitimately fail. That happens every day. Those people aren't scammers. That's called startup life, right? And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. The people that really put in the work, and there's some luck to that, and but most startups fail. Most startups, like what Simon and Becky fail. But the difference is these people are scammers, right? They're not just startup entrepreneurs. They are scammers, and they've scammed us with intent, and that was their plan from day one. And that's why they dropped $1 million in Bali and had that big promotion right at the end. Hey, stake at least $10,000. You'll get 0.8% bonus on top of your 1% daily. So you get 1.8% daily on your $10,000. Amazing. And guess what? I was a fool. I fell for it. I told my friend, he fell for it. We all fell for it. So shame on us. But that doesn't mean that we can't keep these people accountable and keep bringing to light what they've done, because they're going to do this again. And I want people to know. And I wish I would have discovered this page and done more due diligence before I invested. And hopefully in this way, when Luma fails miserably, and when Nivex fails miserably, when Pop Token fails miserably, and they go on to their next scam, I want people to know that these people are not out there trying to, enhance the crypto movement and the DeFi space. They're just out there to make a buck. They're out there living on their yacht. They're out there, opening offices in Singapore and Dubai and Ho Chi Minh City and Korea and wherever else they are. They're just living the good life. So I hope if you found some value in this video, please like and subscribe and comment. That all helps boost the algorithm, and people need to know about these scammers. And we're going to keep talking about these people. We're going to bring to light all of them. Especially Simon, Magnus, Becky, Nick, Pony, and Sal. Serial promoter of MLM crypto Ponzi, Sal Con Man. Yes. We're not going to stop talking about these people. We know we are on to your schemes, and we're going to continue talking about you guys. So, anyways, once again, rambled a lot longer than intended, but thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.